Okay, hi guys. So for this video, I'm going to quickly discuss automatic rigging or human IK or create human IK in Maya. But I'm not going to discuss about this in depth. Okay, just a passive, for quick rigging needs that you um, whenever you need a quick rig for your other projects, okay? But for our activity, we're not going to use this quick human IK rig, okay? Because I want you to learn how to set up your own, okay? So I'll be using the same asset that I've created from previous video. However, this time I tried adjusting the knees. So if I'm going to compare it with my previous, this is the original one where in the knees or the leg area, I try to scale down. So it's shorter legs. Okay. By the way, I didn't mind about the scale of my character when I modeled it. Okay. So the reason why I emphasize on I didn't mind on the scaling of my character when I modeled it, it's because it's important when you're going to create a human IK that it's proportion to real life scaling. So now that I've told you that I didn't mind my scale when I created the character, let's try to use the human IK. You have here a shortcut or a toggle the character control, okay? But let's use this one, okay? We have an option whether to use quick rig or human IK. So let's try human IK first, okay? So this is how it looks like now. Okay, you have parameters here like create skeleton. However, when I press on create skeleton, look at how big my skeleton is. The reason for this is because the default human skeleton size is proportion to real life size, which is we usually measured it by foot. Mine, since I didn't change my scaling size or my scaling unit, I'm using the default centimeter, so it's way too small. Okay, again, let me remind you, if you're doing production and you're doing asset for production and the asset are distributed in different artists, make sure that you finalize before working on your asset. You have to finalize first which grid unit are you going to use. Are you going to use inches? Are you going to use foot? Are you going to use meter? And make sure that you're using the right size for your character making or for your asset making. Okay, so right now I still have to fix a lot of things since I didn't model this in the right size or right unit, grid unit. Okay, so I won't be able to use this create human IK. So I'll just delete this. Okay, and then if you don't want to scale up your character according to the right size, so you have an option whether to delete that or resize your human model. So if you try to resize your human model, you have to scale it up this way. Okay, so scale that up. Okay, but for this demo purpose, let's say you've decided not to follow because you're just trying to practice. Okay, so I'm going to delete this and maintain the centimeter grid size for my character. So in case you're trying to make a toy like character which is about few inches height, okay, so it's not a foot height, but you need to rig maybe it's like Toy Story thingy wherein the proportion of the toys with the human character. Okay, so let me select my mesh. and then you go to skeleton, and then let's try to use the quick rig. Okay. Okay, when you use the quick rig, okay, and then you select your character. Let me delete this again. Okay, and then select the character, and then auto rig. It's going to compute processing. Depends on how heavy your character is and how big is your character. Okay, now that it's done computing, okay, there are times that the skeletal or the joints are not placed on the right or exactly on the place of my mesh. Like this knees, okay, it's kind of offset on my knee mesh. So if I attempt to move this, unfortunately, since it's already skin bind, the translate for the joint is deactivated or locked already, so I cannot move it. Okay, however, if you're going to test this one has joint created already, and then it is skinned and it has controller, so ready for animation. So if I select this one, this will be the rotate for the ankle, and then same thing this one. Okay, and then the pole vector, if you're curious what happened to the pole vector, and as you can see, since my geometry and my skeleton didn't meet on the same location that it should be, so you will see some deformation here. So this is the pole vector. If I move that, I can control the knees. Okay, so instead of using the pole vector that I've taught you on the last video wherein there's a pyramid controller, Maya did is just a locator. This is a locator. Okay, and then let's try this one. So as you can see, whenever you see a cubical or a rectangular shape object, okay, it represents translation. Let's try if it's going to rotate. Okay, so it allows you to rotate also. Let's try this one. Okay, it can rotate also, and then let's try to translate. It doesn't translate. Okay, so the circles can sometimes translate and sometimes can rotate. So you have to study your rig first and the controller, so you would know which controller can move or can control these actions. Okay, and then we have the upper chest. As you can see, the skeletal setup is very simple. It's not complicated. Okay, I'm trying to translate my circle for the chest controller, but as you can see, it's acting like it's rotating. Okay, look how the paint weights on the waist is acting whenever I rotate my chest area. Okay, so same thing with this one for the shoulder. I'm trying to rotate. Okay, same thing for this one. For the head, they just set it up with one joint. Okay, the reason for this is because they're not planning to create upper and lower jaw for basic chin or jaw movement for your character. Okay, so again, like I've said from previous video, there's no rule as to 100% standard on how to set up your rig. It depends on how are you going to animate or the purpose of your rigging, and how are your characters going to move. Okay, so this is for auto rigging. Now let's say you want to have freedom on editing the location of the joints. because currently the auto rig doesn't give you an option to adjust your skeleton or your joint. This is the reason why we have this step by step. Okay, so I'm going to remove this auto rig. Okay, so I'm going to select this and then remove auto rig. Okay, and then once you delete that, it will automatically reset so to default skeleton. Now let's use the step by step. Okay, click on the step by step. Unfortunately, as you can see, all the parameters are deactivated. It's because you haven't added any quick rig setup. Okay, so let's try to add. Okay, you can maybe create what you call this, rename later on. Okay, and then of course from first is you have to choose the geometry or the mesh that you're going to set up a rig. So you have to select the root first and then you click on add, and then it will automatically calculates all the geometry that are included in the hierarchy. Okay, so nothing happens on wireframe because I'm just telling Maya that these are the objects that you're going to create an auto rig. Okay, and then next is the guide. So let's create guides. You do the resolution settings later on. Okay, now for these joints, it's telling you that Maya has computed that these are the location of your joint. So right now, since our knee joint is not placed properly or in the middle or at the location of my knee, so I'm going to select this and then move this down. Okay, since it's not on the center, okay, maybe you can move it also somewhere in the center. So this one, I can select this and then maybe move this somewhere here. Okay, you can also move the crotch area. Okay, I'm okay with the middle area. The shoulder, you have an option to move the shoulder. You have an option also to move the chest, but I'm not going to do that because I think I'm okay with the placement. Okay, I also have to do that on the other side, or you can just mirror the adjustment. Okay, I'm just doing it manually for you to show how it looks like when you're doing it manually. Let's try mirroring on the other side. So as you can see, when I hit the mirror, it automatically adjusts the other side, okay, with the same location. So this one, since we move it manually for both left and right side, let's click on mirror. So as you can see, it adjusted the placement. Alright, so once you're okay with the setting and the location of the skeleton, you select again your mesh and then create update, and it will compute the updates. Okay, so this one will create controllers and skeleton to your object. Okay, now if we try to test this, okay, it's working same with the controller, however it's not yet skin binded. So let's try to skin bind. So let me select the geometry first and then create update on skinning, and it will compute again. This time you can control the joint along with the binded skin. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the vector, it has the vector already. Alright, so my Maya crash or my PC crash in the middle of the recording from previous video, so I'm going to continue that. On our last part, I've already skinned it the quick rig was already skimmed. Okay, so sorry, I think this one is not yet skimmed, so I'm going to skim, create update, so it will process. Once done processing, we can test and check how our quick rig works. So seems like everything is working and moving. Okay, although as you can see, there are weird deformers or deformation on my right leg. Those are the things that we need to fix manually. Okay, so in general, you can use the quick rig um, as it is for quick setup for rigging. Okay, this is a standard, minimal standard for rigging, and very simple yet workable rig. So hope you can explore more into this. If you want a very quick rig, you can also edit some of the parts like this one. Okay, to have more control on your object or your mesh. Okay, you can add more to it later on, so just try to go through and explore some of the tools that you can use to have a better rigging or to expand this simple rig that was given by or set by Maya. Alright, so the next video will talk about how to set up forward kinematics. Alright.